Hello and welcome to Book Club! For the first book we're going to do for my book club, I'm just kidding, the mask has nothing to do with the book that we're reading today. However, if you're an anime fan, you probably recognize the mask. If not, you're probably thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Fuck, I hope someone gets that joke. Anyways, as I said, this is a book club for me to do for you. That whole little entrance segment is a little misleading because, one, I don't actually read books. I have a lot of books, but I don't actually read books a lot. For example, I started this book December 2016, and I finished it 2 weeks ago, November 2017. So it was almost 1 year to finish this book, which is 350 pages max. It's not because I hate books. I love books. The idea of writing information down without speaking onto a page that someone then looks with their eyes and without speaking or hearing anything gets it inside of their brain is amazing. Sharing ideas. That's what I'm all about. The only issue is when your brain is so, I don't want to say high functioning because that makes me sound smarter than I am, but when you just think so much all the time and you can't shut up in your head, you're reading your book and you're reading, okay, we're good, we're killing this, and then it's like, ooh, what's for dinner? Did I eat that for dinner recently? Recently, that's a fun word. Recently, time. Time's a weird thing. Where does time go? Space-time continuum. Doctor Who is a girl now. Am I okay with that? Of course I am. It's 2017! You know, your brain wanders. So it's hard for me to lock down, to sit down, and to read a book. Maybe that same cause is the same reason why when I'm having my downtime, I need to be watching Netflix, playing Rocket League, and texting on my phone at the same time. What has technology done to us? But the book that I've decided to chit-chat with you about is TED Talks, the official TED Guide to Public Speaking by Chris Anderson, who is the head of TED. And if you haven't heard of TED, which I have a hard time believing because it is really, especially with the internet revolution, which we'll get into a little bit later, has really blown up as a medium for getting people's messages across. TED standing for technology, entertainment, and design. And finding a way to mold kind of all these things together to really like bang out a clear message or something for the audience to think upon. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. Chris is really lucky that when he's talking about the art of public speaking and giving these speeches and these presentations, is he has a huge catalog to pull perfect examples from. And in this book, he does exactly that. The book does a fantastic breakdown of everything involved in public speaking. It's a shame this chair is so loud. From formatting your speech, from how you look, how to deliver, to use visual aids, to not, how to memorize your speech, what to do with being nervous for going up there and you're scared to do public speaking or speak in front of a large crowd. And as I said before, he pulls examples out of what he's dealt with because he's had such a large cast of people to come through and do these TED conferences. And one that I particularly liked was Monica Lewinsky, which if you're not familiar with her, which I'm sure you are, is the girl at the center of the Bill Clinton scandal, who basically had her entire life kind of put in front of the world to be laughed at as this girl who fell in love with the president and then may or may not have sucked his dick. in the Oval Office. For her TED Talk, she went up there to talk about that experience and how it affected her life. So of course, like, you're going up there to talk about this crazy embarrassing thing. Of course, she's filled with nerves, and then, I don't want to spoil it. I'll get to my recommendation later. But in this book, the example he uses on how Monica Lewinsky built up the courage to do it, some aids she did to get over that stage fright, I found helpful. And I find I don't really get too nervous speaking in front of large crowds or public speaking, but there were still things that I could pull away from that really solidified how to break the nerves down and own them. The main thing I took away from this book was really substance over style. He really brings home the fact that if your speech is beautifully written and great words, and you're a great presenter, you're hitting all the notches, but if there's nothing really important, then there's no point in saying it. And this is something I struggle with. I often feel it's like the Zack Snyder, the director, like his syndrome, just like, we gotta put this cool shot in, doesn't matter about the story. I often feel that I lack substance, like I'm empty on the inside. Nothing on the inside. But what he really drives home is through lines. This is, through your speech, there should be one line going across, and it's, this is your message. Anything else around it should be working towards getting that message across. One of my favorite examples he pulls from the book is not even at a TED Talk. Or was it a TED Talk? It's a story that was told at a TED Talk? Anyways, or was it not? It's been, as I said, I started this book 11 months ago, so I'm a little foggy on the beginning. But he mentions Elon Musk when he was first starting SpaceX, and they tried, their first rocket, and it blew up, and they tried their second rocket, and it also blew up, and then after that, everyone in the control room, I guess, had the same mentality. Like, are we pulling a wrap on this? This is 2 major failures, back to back. Is this it? Tons of doubt had just casted this disgusting shadow over the whole company. Everyone's waiting for what their leader, Elon Musk, has to say. And Elon's not the best public speaker. He's a guy, he's a very smart guy, but he's not known for his public speaking. But in this moment, he didn't care what it looked like. He didn't care what it was perceived as. He had one message to get across, and he did. And all he said was, listen, I'm back here tomorrow. If you're still in, I'll see you tomorrow. Basically saying, rallying the troops, just this, we have failed twice, but we are not giving up. I'm not giving up. And after that, that's all it took. Everyone, just like that, like the leader put his message across, his through line was perfect, and then the troops were rallied. If you're aware of TED Talks already, this would be a really good read, especially because, as I said, all the references to other TED Talks that he pulls from, and on top of that, he has a directory in the back of every TED Talk he mentioned, where to find it, what dates, the title, and what it was on, which is a perfect resource to really, it's great going around reading this book and then kind of watching TED Talks in between of the ones that he pulls up to really see what he's talking about executed on video. I will say, though, that this book isn't one that I will probably ever go back to read cover to cover. I think the best use of this book is a guide, like a handbook almost, to use to just try to refreshen the skills that it mentions inside of it. If I have a public speaking engagement coming up, I'll definitely be going back to this to just quickly skim over some of the tips, the hints, the tricks, the do's, to the what not to do's. What not to do's. And I think even Chris knew writing it that that's really almost what it would be used for. A lot of the narratives and the stories in it are really good, but really, I mean, especially when you get to mostly throughout the book, it is really written not textbook style, but handbook, guidebook, you know, like, these are the 4 things you should do. Bop, bop, bop. Bop. Whistle didn't really work there. So as far as recommending goes, I would recommend picking up this book, especially if you know you're going to have a lot of public speaking obligations, even if it's just for work, like presentations for work or for class or for your church group, or maybe you're in a baking group where you make little cool cupcakes and you gotta talk about what's inside of them. Regardless, would recommend TED Talks, Chris Anderson, head of TED. This book is done. Does it look cool? Or does it look stupid? I feel like it looks stupid. The next book that I've started picking up is Buddha or Bust: In Search of Truth, Meaning, Happiness, and the Man Who Found Them All by Perry Garfunkel. I am only about a third into this so far, but I'm on pace to beat the 11 months it took me to finish that one, so that's a plus. Honestly, really enjoying this one so far. Making me ask a lot of questions. Not just about Buddhism, but kind of about myself too. It's a really interesting approach he does, so I'm excited to talk to you guys about this one. But it might not be the next one I read. Monica lent me this because she's taking a graphic novels class this semester. So she got to read all these graphic novels, which is amazing! I mean, you take writing and you take art and you put it together. It should be more popular than it is, but I think it's on the up and up. One of the books she read was Pyongyang by Guy Delis. I probably butchered that name, sorry. And it's just about a artist who goes to North Korea for some reason, but I haven't started reading this yet, but you know, Mon finished it in 2 hours, so I think it's a quick read, and she really liked it. So this might be the next one we do, but after that, it'll be Buddha or Bust. Pretend I have a huge audience. If anyone wanted to read these 2 in the meantime, you probably have a month, maybe less for this guy. And yeah, maybe we can talk about it if you wanted to add me on Facebook, and we could have conversations about it. Okay, everybody, thanks for coming to the book club. Everyone have a good day now. Bye. Where's the button on this thing?